Sticking with education, as part of the process for securing Race to the Top funds, Maryland agreed to begin using student test scores to evaluate teachers' performance. With Common Core's implementation, the state superintendent of schools is seeking to delay the use of the test scores to measure teacher performance for an additional 2 years. Do you support delaying teacher performance evaluations as proposed? And as governor, what would you do to improve the achievements of students in Maryland schools? And we're going to start with Mr. Lollar.
Thank you so much. I would avoid as much as possible teaching to a test, which is what the Race to the Top tends to do. Now, I have an unfair advantage. I'm married to a teacher, so whenever a teacher is pressed, whether through finance or whatever the case may be, to get a desired end state or result based upon a law, and it's drafted out or supposed to be based upon that student's performance on a test, it makes the education process fall into the teaching to the test syndrome, which is something we don't need. As governor, I want to trust my local teachers. I want to trust my parents in the state. I want to trust the local administrations of each state to figure out how they're going to drive toward academic excellence. And then I want to encourage benchmarking. I want to ensure that, for example, our Board of Regents, as they are creating the criteria or the curricula for our future educators to graduate and come to Maryland schools to teach in, do they have the best and the brightest in terms of education to prepare them for the next level? How much benchmarking happens for teachers, not just within the state of Maryland, but outside the state of Maryland, or even include educative administrators? How do we learn from the brighter and the best, and those that might have a different way of teaching, sometimes the same criteria, and bring it back to our students here? I don't think we do enough of that in terms of engaging teachers and administrators outside of their local areas. So I want to trust my local officials. I want to trust my local teachers, but I want to maintain and ensure those academic priorities are kept high, because we can't slack. Too much is riding on that, especially when it comes to our students.
Mr. Vaeth.
I don't think that we can assess a teacher's performance based upon failed curriculum. I wouldn't do that. Some students want to learn, some don't. When I was in school, I wanted to play all day. I didn't want to go to school. So if you judge my teacher's performance based upon my success, you think that she was a bad teacher. But she's really good. It was just my hard head that had, teachers telling my parents, oh, he's got the potential if he only used it. I was 10. I was more worried about Batman and all that other stuff. I wasn't into it, and there was kids that were, though. We had to respect the kids that wanted to, But I just can't see basing. I think that we ought to have the teachers assess each other. They would be the best ones to know. They know each other, they talk to each other, and, they would be better off to assess them than, seeing whether or not the kids perform well. Some teachers I just didn't want to listen to because they weren't interested. I learned what a noun was by the ABC School Rock. It wasn't because a teacher told me it was a person, place, or thing. Is it? No. No, I did. That's how I got it, because the cartoon appealed to me. We can appeal to our students and, have some really good programs going on in school and have some good teachers. I think we got to let teachers be teachers first and let them have control of the classroom. Thank you.
Testing is not appropriate for the teacher evaluation nor the school evaluation. Let me give an example on the teacher. Let's say that I'm a teacher and one of you is a teacher, and you have a student that's at 75% and I have a student at 25%, and you get yours to 80% and I get mine to 75%. The evaluation would be, I failed, you did a good job. You increased yours by 5 points, I increased mine by, a lot more than that. That's the wrong way to evaluate how the teacher did it. The evaluation on the school, they look at it and they go, here's how the 5th graders did in this school this year, and then next year, this is how those 5th graders did. Well, guess what? Those 5th graders are now in 6th grade. They weren't the children that were being tested. That is one reason why that whole testing system is not valid. I can tell you as a teacher, there were times as a teacher you look at a test you gave, and every time I gave a test, I would evaluate it after it was done. And I remember one time looking at a test, and I found that every kid in this one class had missed an answer. And then I went back and looked and realized that the day that I taught that particular item, they were in band and they had gone to another school. They hadn't heard what I was supposed to teach that day. So I took that off the test. Will they do this at the federal or state level? No, not if they're going to evaluate teachers. I was an assistant principal. One of my jobs was to evaluate teachers. We did it on a regular basis. We hired really good people, and when they were having problems, we reached out and helped them. That's what you do. You let the teachers make those decisions, and you let the principal in the school and the assistant principal manage those affairs.
Nathaniel, I have to take a moment. Shelley, just stand up. You don't need to applaud. Shelley, stand up. Let them recognize your face. Turn around. Shelley Alloy is my running mate. She has been a teacher at the university level, the high school level, the middle school level. She's taught science and math, and I could go on and on about her resume. Thanks, Shelley. I just want you to know that on my ticket, education is very important. I homeschooled. I was the National Board of Homeschoolers. I have a child who got a full ride to college, 2 children. I have another one who speaks 8 languages and studies everything in the original language. I love saying that part because I only speak 1. But you do what you can do. What helps with one child goes. What am I saying about that? I'm saying it's not one size fits all. You design it for each. That's why I want you to have school choice. They tried to change the funding formula for charter schools that would have killed charter schools. I led a fight on the floor, almost killed it on the House floor, but because of that close vote, we got it to be killed in the Senate side. Nobody understood what was in this bill, and that's exactly what it would have done. Here in Anne Arundel County, we had the highest performing school in the state, Chesapeake Science Point Academy. It's a charter school. Thank you, Spear Lancaster, and everyone who works there. They take many people from lower income. KIPP academies take 80% of their kids from Section 8 housing. And why did these kids suddenly perform well? I know how to do it. Yes, I fought for holding off, you said, on the teachers' evaluations, postponing it for 2 years. I did vote for that on subcommittee and argued for it. I think it's a good idea. I think we have to slow this down. It's just like with the healthcare part. They're rushing it. They're rushing it to be the first. We haven't done this with any other of the standards that they put forward.
I hate cutting you off. I apologize.
Sorry.